The biggest shocks come when fame obscures the truth. Behind the red carpets and the perfect couples, some of Hollywood's biggest stars are living a different story. A story of silent struggles, hidden secrets, and the courage to escape reality. These are not stories of scandal, but journeys of self-discovery, where they must choose between a comforting lie and the truth. If you're ready for these untold journeys, subscribe and follow us. And number 11 will surprise you. Colton Haynes has spent years cultivating the perfect image of a handsome, charming, and outspoken American man. He has dated a string of beautiful women, each relationship fitting the image Hollywood expects of a model-turned-actor. Of these relationships, his romance with actress Emily Bett Rickards stands out. Both are rising talents, both are ready to be on screen, and together they make the perfect couple the film industry strives to promote. On the surface, the relationship ticks all the boxes. It shields Haynes from rumors of his sexuality, bolsters both of their public images, and fits the expectations of an industry still struggling to accept openly gay actors. But every red carpet moment, every posed photo, every interview, it's all a performance. And with each performance, the burden grew heavier. Behind the glamorous facade, Haynes was struggling with severe anxiety and depression. His efforts to maintain a heterosexual image while hiding his true feelings led to worsening emotional turmoil. He began self-medicating, withdrawing from friends, family, and the career he had worked so hard to build. The tipping point came when Haynes realized the truth. Living a lie was not only painful, but self-destructive. Ending relationships with women was not about love, it was about survival. He could no longer afford to be someone else, especially when doing so meant destroying everything he held dear about himself. Everything changed when he met Jeff Leatham. Their relationship only began after Haynes had the courage to be himself, and it changed the way he viewed both love and life. Their wedding in 2017 was more than just a celebration. It was a declaration, a public promise that he would never again sacrifice his own happiness to satisfy someone else's expectations. Today, Haynes' openness about his mental health struggles and his journey to discovering his sexuality has made him a powerful advocate for young people facing similar challenges. His story is living proof that choosing truth over approval can not only be liberating, it can also save your life. For more than a decade, Ricky Martin's relationship with Mexican television host Rebecca de Alba captivated the media and public. From 1994 to 2005, their on-again, off-again relationship played out like a real-life soap opera. Warm reunions, dramatic breakups, and endless speculation about when the two would finally tie the knot. But behind the headlines and paparazzi photos, Martin was fighting a battle that threatened to engulf him. His relationship with de Alba, while sincere in many ways, rested on a fragile foundation. Martin was grappling with feelings and attractions he couldn't admit, even to himself, in an industry and culture that didn't allow for such honesty. The internal struggle soon manifested as depression and anxiety that permeated every aspect of his life. He disappeared for months, avoided public events, and struggled with the growing gap between his public image and his private reality. The pressure to maintain his image as a beloved Latino icon was slowly crushing the man beneath his fame. Eventually, his relationship with de Alba fell victim to that internal struggle. She deserved someone who could love her completely, without emotional conflicts or reservations. When they finally called it quits in 2005, it wasn't just a breakup. It was Ricky Martin's first real step toward truth. The journey toward authenticity didn't come immediately. His subsequent relationship with Carlos Gonzalez Abella lasted 6 years but remained largely hidden from the public. It wasn't until Martin met Yuan Yosef on Instagram that things began to fall into place. What started as casual text messages quickly blossomed into a deep, emotional connection. And when they finally met in person, Martin knew this was his future. Their marriage in 2017 marked the culmination of a long, painful, and ultimately liberating journey. From hiding to wholeness, from living for public approval to embracing his truth. But even the most meaningful connections can evolve, and in 2023, Martin and Yosef announced their separation. Though their romantic relationship came to an end, both emphasized their continued respect for one another and their shared commitment to raising their children with love. Jonathan Bennett started his career with a natural comedic presence, making him a perfect choice for romantic leads opposite his female co-stars. His relationship with actress Sarah Davenport looked like a classic Hollywood love story. Two talented, charming young actors climbing the ladder of fame together, sharing moments of genuine happiness and harmony. But beneath that perfect facade, the relationship served a purpose Bennett wasn't ready to face. In an industry where comedy leads are expected to appear relatable to straight audiences, his romance with Davenport was the perfect cover for emotions he wasn't ready to explore. As Bennett's career began to soar, so did his inner conflict. He was cast in roles that required him to convincingly portray heterosexual romantic relationships, even as he struggled with emotions and attractions that were completely at odds with those performances. Every on-screen kiss, every scripted love scene, it all felt like a betrayal of his true self. The tipping point came when Bennett realized that being inauthentic not only undermined his personal happiness, but also hurt his work. He couldn't fully commit to roles that required him to deny core aspects of his identity. The end of his relationship with Davenport wasn't sudden. It was the first step in a long journey toward self-acceptance. And it didn't happen overnight. Bennett needed time to understand and embrace his own emotions before he could share them with the world. When he finally came out and began a relationship with James Vaughn, Bennett discovered something he never expected. Honesty didn't diminish his career. It enhanced it. Their relationship represented not only personal joy, but also professional freedom. The freedom to be himself completely, unapologetically in every aspect of his life. Luke Evans built his early career on the rugged, masculine image that Hollywood expected of its top action stars. His relationships with women, including a highly publicized affair with actress Holly Goodchild, seemed to perfectly reinforce that image. On paper, it all fit. She was beautiful, successful, and completely supportive of his ambitions. They attended premieres together, shared romantic getaways, and projected the glamorous image of a power couple that the industry had always celebrated. But for Evans, every moment of that relationship felt like a betrayal of who he was. The pressure to maintain this image grew as he took on leading roles in films like The Hobbit trilogy and Fast and Furious 6. Studio executives were frank. His marketability depended on portraying himself as a real man, especially in action films where audiences were taught to emulate traditional masculinity from their heroes. Living this lie was destroying him from the inside. Evans struggled with anxiety and depression, feeling trapped between the career he had always dreamed of and the life he desperately needed. And while his relationship with Goodchild provided much solace, it could never provide the emotional fulfillment he sought elsewhere. The turning point came when Evans realized that professional success meant nothing if it required him to give up his true self. Ending his relationship with Goodchild and coming out was terrifying, but also liberating. And when the truth finally came out, Evans discovered something Hollywood never told him. Audiences were far more accepting of him than the industry feared. His openness about his sexuality has made him a role model for countless actors facing the same pressures he once faced. Today, Luke Evans is openly gay and has been in a committed relationship with Fran Thomas since at least late 2022, marking a new chapter in his life of authenticity and love. His journey proves that embracing one's true self doesn't end careers. Sometimes it strengthens them. Matt Dallas entered Hollywood as a young teenager, chasing the big dreams and romances that often accompany early fame. His relationship with co-star Kirsten Prout while filming Kyle XY was like the perfect Hollywood meet-cute. The two young actors, with their on-screen chemistry, easily blossomed into a real-life romance. Their relationship was everything fans and the media expected. Young, charming, age-appropriate, and their love story reflected the innocent charm of the show that made them famous. For 2 years, they experienced young love in the spotlight, attending events together and building a solid foundation for a long-term relationship. But behind that perfect facade, Dallas was struggling with emotions he couldn't reconcile with the relationships people expected him to maintain. As he grew older, he began to recognize feelings and attractions that contradicted everything he thought he knew about himself. The confusion was overwhelming, especially in an industry that offers little advice to young stars dealing with revelations like this. Gradually, the relationship with Prout began to feel hollow. Dallas was awakening to parts of himself he'd never explored, and Prout deserved someone who could love her completely, without the reservations and internal conflicts that grew. Their breakup in 2008 was painful, but necessary. It marked the first real shift in Dallas's journey to self-understanding. His next relationship with Blue Hamilton was a turning point. Hamilton embodies everything Dallas has been searching for, but never had the words to define. When they met in 2010, Dallas finally understood the difference between what seemed right and what felt right. Their engagement in 2013 and marriage in 2015 were not just milestones, they were statements, proof that authenticity is more important than public approval. And when they adopted a child, it completed Dallas's transformation from a confused young actor to a confident family man living his truth. Neil Patrick Harris has spent decades creating one of the most elaborate illusions in entertainment. From his teenage rise to stardom in Doogie Howser, MD, to his adult breakthrough in How I Met Your Mother, he has maintained relationships with women who perfectly fit his image as a charming, straight leading man. His relationship with actress Christine Taylor is particularly compelling to both industry insiders and fans. They were frequently photographed together, looking affectionate, comfortable, and the kind of stable Hollywood couple advertisers dream of. But behind every public smile is calculation. Every appearance is a deliberate attempt to protect an image that doesn't reflect who Harris really is. The pressure is intense. Harris feared that speaking out would destroy the polished image that had defined his career, especially for someone who grew up in the American public eye. At the time, Hollywood had no clear blueprint for openly gay actors succeeding in mainstream comedy roles. And while the world saw a confident leading man, Harris lived a completely different life behind the scenes. His relationship with David Burtka began quietly, two men trying to cultivate love while protecting careers that seemed tied to secrecy. Every intimate moment was clouded by fear. Fear of being discovered, fear of losing everything they had worked so hard to build, fear of shattering their carefully constructed public identities. ending relationships with women, and finally coming out as gay required extraordinary courage. Harris wasn't just risking his career. He was risking the public image he'd spent his life building. But when he finally shared his truth with the world, he discovered something surprising. Audiences were far more accepting of him than he'd ever imagined. His marriage to Bertka and the family they built together are a powerful testament to authenticity, triumphing over fear. Neil Patrick Harris's journey proves that honesty can be risky, but the rewards of being your true self are priceless. Inspired by Neil Patrick Harris's journey? Hit like, drop a comment, and share how you embrace your true self. Zachary Quinto's rise to fame on the Heroes series and the Star Trek reboot has come with the added pressure of maintaining an image that appeals to the traditionally heterosexual male fan base of sci-fi. His relationships with actresses like Sutton Foster are the perfect foil. The two actors supporting each other, attending events together, and projecting the polished, stable image that both their representatives and the studio want the world to see. To most, it seems genuine, supportive, even idealistic. But for Quinto, every public appearance feels like a performance more demanding than any other role he's ever played. He's playing a straight-laced leading man, while also struggling with emotions and attractions that are completely at odds with the image he's worked so hard to create. The cognitive dissonance is terrifying. That pressure was intensified when he was cast as Spock, one of the most iconic characters in the history of science fiction. Generations of fans had raised expectations, and studio executives had made it clear. Maintaining an upstanding public image was essential to the success of the film and his future in the franchise. But living this lie sapped the joy of his accomplishments. Quinto had reached the pinnacle of his career he had always dreamed of, but he felt completely disconnected from his true self. While his relationship with Foster was comfortable, it could never provide the emotional empathy he needed. The turning point came when he finally chose honesty. Coming out in 2011 was scary, but necessary. And what he discovered changed everything. The fears he had carried with him for years were unfounded. Fans were more interested in his performances than his personal life. His relationship with Miles McMillan marked a new chapter, one defined by authenticity rather than image management. It represented the freedom to live openly while continuing a career he had built with such precision and care. Dan Reynolds has built a career as the fiery lead singer of Imagine Dragons while maintaining a carefully crafted masculine image as a heterosexual rock star. His marriage to Aja Volkman seems to fit that image perfectly. She is beautiful, talented, and fully supportive of his creative ambitions. Together they create the image of a solid, artistic power couple. For 7 years, their marriage looked solid from the outside. They raised 3 children, collaborated on musical projects, and faced the pressures of fame together. But beneath that seemingly unshakable foundation, Reynolds was struggling with parts of his identity that he could no longer ignore. The internal conflict was intense. What began as a simmering insecurity turned into severe depression and anxiety. Struggles that permeated his music, his marriage, and his sense of self. He found himself questioning everything he thought he understood about love, attraction, and identity. The pressure to maintain a public image while battling private revelations became increasingly unbearable. Ultimately, his marriage to Volkman became a casualty of Reynolds' journey of self-discovery. Despite their genuine love and deep connection, he could no longer continue in a relationship that required him to repress essential aspects of who he was becoming. Their divorce in 2018 was painful, but also necessary. It was the first real step toward living authentically. Reynolds' openness about his personal journey and his commitment to authenticity has marked a radical shift in his approach to both life and art. The music he makes now comes from a place of genuine expression, free from the pressure of maintaining an image that never quite fits. He uses his platform to fight for LGBTQ+ rights and raise awareness about mental health, turning his personal experiences into a beacon of hope and inspiration for countless others facing similar struggles. Alan Cumming's relationship with Hilary Lyon was the epitome of everything the entertainment industry expected of a rising star. When they married in 1985, they were two talented young actors navigating the ups and downs of early careers together. Auditions, wins, losses, supporting each other through the challenges of an actor's life. But beneath the surface of their seemingly perfect marriage, Cumming was struggling with emotions he could no longer ignore. The demands of their careers and constant travel created distance, and a real rift was forming within Cumming himself. He was exploring aspects of his sexuality that he had never fully acknowledged, feelings that were incompatible with the heterosexual life he was trying to maintain. Their marriage ended quietly in 1993. No scandal, no dramatic fallout. The tragedy was not in the separation itself, but in the years of uncertainty and confusion that led up to it. It was the slow, painful realization that he had lived a life that was not truly his, and the beginning of his journey toward understanding and embracing his true identity. By the time he met Grant Shaffer in 2004, Cumming had learned the profound difference between what seemed right and what felt right. Their marriage in 2007 was more than just a union. It was a statement. For the first time in his life, he was able to be himself with a partner who understood every aspect of him. 17 years later, their relationship is proof that authenticity, not conformity, is the true foundation of lasting love. Long before Matt Bomer became a household name in White Collar and Magic Mike, he was navigating the dangerous world of Hollywood while hiding his true identity. In the early 2000s, he maintained a carefully crafted public image, complete with romantic relationships with women, while secretly grappling with the truth he couldn't share. His relationship with actress Laura Vandervoort seemed like a classic young Hollywood romance. They appeared together at events, were comfortable with each other, and fit the image favored by advertisers and the industry. But for Bomer, every red carpet moment was a performance, every photo a layer of lies that grew thicker over time. The burden of living a lie began to seep into every corner of his life. Friends noticed the signs, the growing anxiety, the reluctance to talk about anything personal, the habit of burying himself in work to avoid facing reality. The pressure of maintaining a false identity was crushing him from the inside. Everything changed when he met Simon Halls, a successful public relations professional who understood the demands of the industry and the cost of hiding the truth. Their relationship began in secret, the two men trying to build a life together in a world that still punished authenticity with lost roles and stalled careers. But for the first time, Bomer experienced love unencumbered by pretense. Coming out in 2012 was terrifying, but also liberating. After years of believing that honesty would destroy everything he had built, he realized the opposite was true. Authenticity strengthened him, freed him. His marriage to Halls, along with his 3 children, was more than just a personal blessing. It symbolized Bomer's complete break with the lie he had lived. Today, his openness about his journey continues to inspire countless others facing similar choices, reminding them that the risk of honesty is always worth the reward. Luke Macfarlane spent his early career navigating the treacherous world of daytime television, where leading men were expected to embody the romantic fantasies of female viewers. His relationship with actress Rebecca Breeds provided the perfect cover as he built a reputation as a sweetheart on Brothers and Sisters. The relationship served multiple purposes. It enhanced both their public personas, reassured network executives who wanted their stars to reflect the romantic storylines they portrayed, and shielded Macfarlane from speculation about his personal life. But each public appearance required him to present an increasingly hollow version of himself. Behind the scenes, Macfarlane was developing relationships with men, relationships that provided the emotional and physical intimacy he never found in his heterosexual relationships. The stark contrast between his public image and private reality created a cognitive dissonance that permeated every aspect of his life and work. The pressure only intensified when he began taking on leading male roles that required him to convincingly portray heterosexual romance. Every scripted love scene felt like a betrayal of his true self. Every press interview about his single life became another lie, each one more weighted down. When Macfarlane decided to come out in 2008, it was a revolution for daytime television, an industry that had never seen an openly gay leading man. He risked everything he had worked for, but he could no longer bear the emotional pain of living someone else's life. His courage helped pave the way for countless actors facing similar struggles, proving that audiences were far more accepting of him than the industry ever thought possible. Today, Macfarlane's honesty and openness are an inspiration to anyone who chooses authenticity over conformity. Jim Parsons spent years carefully managing his public image, maintaining relationships with women who served as the perfect cover for the truth he wasn't ready to share. Before The Big Bang Theory made him one of the highest-paid actors on television, Parsons dated a number of women in the entertainment industry. These relationships seemed genuine, but they lacked the emotional depth he was secretly experiencing elsewhere. His relationship with actress Jessica Walter seemed particularly convincing to those around him. They attended industry events together. She supported him through his early career struggles, and their relationship had all the trappings of a young Hollywood romance. But for Parsons, every public appearance was a performance, one that required more than any character he had ever played. The pressure to maintain this facade while trying to build a real career was too great. He feared that revealing the truth would destroy the opportunities he had worked so hard to build. In an industry that often punished honesty, especially for leading men, the safest option seemed to be to continue the lie. Everything changed in 2002 when he met Todd Spiewak at a karaoke bar. Their connection was immediate and undeniable, but it also created a dilemma. Parsons fell in love with someone he could never openly acknowledge, while maintaining relationships that supported his career but betrayed his heart. Ending those relationships with women wasn't a big deal or a dramatic one. It was a quiet shift toward honesty, starting with accepting his feelings for Spiewak. As their relationship deepened, Parsons found the courage to stop living for other people's expectations and start living for his own happiness. And when The Big Bang Theory catapulted him to global fame, he made the bold choice to publicly acknowledge his relationship with Spiewak. Their marriage in 2017 was more than a celebration of love. It marked Parsons' journey from hiding to wholeness. As Prison Break made Wentworth Miller a global phenomenon, the fame that elevated him also put him under unbearable pressure to maintain an image that did not reflect his true self. His rumored relationship with co-star Mariana Claveno became the perfect cover, an easy way to dodge questions about his personal life and hide truths he was not ready to reveal. The arrangement worked for both. She was in the public eye, and he had a shield from speculation about his sexuality. But the cost was high. Miller lived in constant fear of exposure, carefully managing interviews and an exhausting public image. The strain affected his mental health and work. Colleagues saw his isolation, withdrawal from social activities, and retreat into himself between takes. He gradually vanished behind the character he felt forced to portray. During this time, Miller's relationship with Luke Macfarlane represented everything he couldn't express in public. Macfarlane, who faced similar pressures in Hollywood, understood the predicament they were both in. Their relationship existed only in the shadows, brief moments between filming schedules, always under threat of discovery. The tipping point came when Miller realized that keeping secrets wasn't just destroying his relationships, it was destroying his sense of self. His decision to come out in 2013 was prompted by Russia's anti-LGBTQ+ laws, turning his personal truth into a powerful political stance. Miller's openness about his struggles with identity and mental health has helped him become a guiding voice for countless others facing similar struggles. His story proves that honesty, even when it's late, can still save your life. Before becoming one of the world's most celebrated singers, Sam Smith spent years trying to fit into traditional romantic molds that never quite felt right. Their relationship with actress Lily Allen, on the surface, seemed to offer a sense of stability and normalcy that might help clarify their identities and futures. There were moments of genuine connection and happiness between them, but the relationship also became a quiet trial run, an attempt for Smith to better understand his own sexuality and gender identity. They tried to fit into a mold that didn't belong to them, forcing themselves into conventional romantic expectations while grappling with feelings and attractions that didn't fit those norms. As Smith's career took off with hits like Stay With Me and Too Good at Goodbyes, the pressure to maintain a relatable public image grew. Their team feared that being honest about their sexuality might alienate listeners who deeply sympathized with the universal heartbreak in their music. But being inauthentic was slowly destroying Smith's ability to create authentic art. Their music had always come from a place of genuine emotion, and maintaining a false personal narrative was damaging the very authenticity that made their voices so powerful. Every love song felt like a lie when sung by someone who hid their true self. Embracing their non-binary identity and openly sharing their relationships with men was not only a step toward personal happiness, but also an act of artistic integrity. And when Smith allowed themselves to be fully themselves, their music became richer, deeper, and more resonant than ever. Their relationship with Brandon Flynn represents something even greater: the freedom to love authentically while building a career based on emotional honesty. Sam Smith's journey proves that authenticity doesn't diminish artistic power, it amplifies it. Barry Manilow spent nearly 4 decades living one of the longest-running deceptions in entertainment history. His relationship with Linda Allen, which lasted from 1965 to 1987, looked like the perfect showbiz marriage. Solid, supportive, and perfect enough to match his image as America's most beloved balladeer. But beneath the surface, Manilow was leading a double life that would define his existence for decades to come. The marriage wasn't entirely a facade. There was genuine affection, companionship, and shared stories. But it also served as a carefully constructed shield, protecting Manilow from an industry and audience that weren't ready to accept a gay man singing some of the world's most beloved love songs. In the 70s and 80s, his career depended on the illusion that his heartfelt ballads were inspired by his relationships with women. Everything changed in 1978 when Manilow met Gary Keefe. What began as a professional partnership, Keefe became his manager, gradually developed into something much deeper, something more meaningful than anything Manilow had ever experienced. However, to openly admit these feelings would mean disrupting the life he had spent years building. For nearly a decade, Manilow lived in two worlds at once. He gave Alan the public companionship she deserved, while also nurturing a secret affair with Keefe behind closed doors. The emotional strain of living this double life took a toll on his health, his music, and his ability to find true happiness in both relationships. When Manilow and Alan divorced in 1987, the world saw it as just another Hollywood breakup. In reality, it was his first step toward authenticity. Even then, it took another 27 years for him to feel safe enough to marry Keefe, and they kept their marriage private until 2017. Barry Manilow's story reflects the unique challenges faced by artists whose entire careers are built on romantic illusions that leave no room for their true identities. His journey is a reminder of the silent sacrifices of those who feel they must choose between love and legacy, until they finally have the courage to choose for themselves. These stories not only show the courage these men found in coming out, but also the compassion they have for the women affected along that journey. They are not liars by choice, but men trapped by expectations, men who chose truth over comfort. Their journeys remind us that authenticity also sets others free. If these stories resonate with you, please subscribe, hit the bell, and support the channel. Your participation helps us bring more powerful stories. So please keep watching.